Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav, and with me is Renuka R.S., bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment, and more. The headlines. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair the 13th Brics Summit on the 9th of this month in virtual format. Iran strongly condemns Taliban's military offensive against resistance fighters in Afghanistan's Panchir Valley. Taiwan says 19 Chinese military aircraft entered its air defense zone. India administers more than 1 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses on Monday, feat achieved thrice in last 11 days. And in cricket, India beats England by 157 runs in 4th Test match at Oval, lead series 2-1. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. As part of India's ongoing chairmanship of BRICS in 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the 13th BRICS Summit on the 9th of this month in a virtual format. The meeting will be attended by the President of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, President of China, Xi Jinping, and President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, President of the New Development Bank Mahus Troiho, the pro tempore chair of the BRICS Business Council Onkar Kanwar, and pro tempore chair of the BRICS Women's Business Alliance Dr. Sangeeta Reddy will present reports on the outcomes pursued this year under their tracks to the leaders during the summit. The theme for the summit is BRICS at 15, Intra-BRICS Cooperation for Continuity, Consolidation and Consensus. India had outlined 4 priority areas for its chairship. These are reform of the multilateral system, counter-terrorism, using digital and technological tools for achieving sustainable development goals, and enhancing people-to-people exchanges. In addition to these areas, the leaders will also exchange views on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current global and regional issues. This is the second time Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be chairing the BRICS Summit. Earlier, he had chaired the Goa Summit in 2016. The Indian chairship of BRICS this year coincides with the 15th anniversary of BRICS as reflected in the theme for the summit. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that the days of unilateralism are over. Bilateralism has its own limits, and as the COVID reminded us, multilateralism is simply not working well enough. He said the resistance to reforming international organizations compel us to look for more practical and immediate solutions, and that is the case for the Quad. Delivering the J.G. Crawford Oration 2021 this evening, virtually organized by the Australian National University, Dr. S. Jaishankar said, the last 2 decades have seen a real transformation in India's relation with its 3 Quad partners, the United States, Japan and Australia. He said, Quad nations are all democratic polities, market economies and pluralistic societies. The External Affairs Minister said, apart from that natural understanding that it generates, similarity in the structural aspects of their relationships has helped to foster the platform. He said, in each case there are regular meetings at the summit level, designated formally as annual in the case of Australia and Japan. Dr. S. Jaishankar said all the bilateral ties now include a 2+2 defense and foreign ministers interaction. He said all 4 countries are members of ASEAN-led forums, including the East Asia Summit, the ASEAN Regional Forum and the Defense Ministers meeting. The minister said they also strongly subscribe to the centrality of ASEAN insofar as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. He said between them, these four are involved in multiple trilateral combinations with other partners. Dr. Jaishankar said, in the case of India and Australia, they include those with France, Indonesia and Japan. He said, in many ways, the ease of working together has been increased by other experiences, whether they are bilateral or more collective. The minister said all of them offer mutual logistics support, and work on white shipping obviously enables better maritime security coordination. Dr. Jaishankar said their shared commitment to UN Clause 1982 as the Constitution of the Seas is no less relevant. He said similarly, three of them, Japan, Australia and India, being members of the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative and the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiatives makes a difference. The External Affairs Minister said the working of the Quad takes into account the consequences of globalization, requirements of the global commons and the expression of converging interests. He said the Malabar naval exercise is cited most often as its example. Dr. Jaishankar said, but Quad's expanding agenda affirms a declared intention to promote greater prosperity and ensure stability in the Indo-Pacific, so it should not be seen narrowly.
In Afghanistan, Taliban has claimed full control over the Panchir Valley. At a press conference in Kabul on Monday, the Taliban spokesman Zaibullah Mujahid declared that the war has ended in Afghanistan with the fall of the last bastion of opposition forces. However, the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan refuted the claim of the Taliban and called it false. In an audio message on Facebook, the leader of the resistance forces, Ahmad Massoud, said the resistance force fighters are at strategic locations and fighting Taliban. He called for a national uprising by the Afghans, whether inside or outside the country. According to reports, Ahmad Massoud alleged that the bombardment by Pakistan and Taliban in Panchir killed resistance forces spokesman Fahim Dashti and many of Massoud's family members. He said that Pakistan directly attacked Afghans in Panchir and the international community watched silently. Iran has strongly condemned the Taliban's military offensive against fighters of National Resistance Front in Afghanistan's Panchir Valley, as the Islamist group claimed it had taken control of the area. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesman Saeed Khatibzadeh told reporters that the news coming from Panchir is truly worrying. He said the assault is strongly condemned. Taliban spokesman Zaibullah Mujahid told in Kabul on Monday that a new government will be formed soon. However, he did not specify when the new cabinet will be announced. According to media reports, Taliban has invited China, Pakistan, Russia, Turkey, Iran, Qatar to attend the new government formation ceremony in Afghanistan. However, there has not been any formal word on this account from the government agencies. Russian ambassador to India, Nikolai Kudashev, has said that the situation in Afghanistan is a matter of common concern for both India and Russia. He said that Afghan soil should not be a source of terrorism for other countries in the region. Talking about the government to be formed in Afghanistan, the Russian envoy said they want an inclusive government in Afghanistan. Mr. Kudashev further said that Afghan people deserve peace, stability and sustainable development just as any other nation.
The Bangladesh Information and Broadcasting Minister, Dr. Hassan Mahmood, has said that the stability of Afghanistan is important for regional stability and his country is keeping a close eye on the latest developments. Responding to media persons in New Delhi on Monday on the issue of recognition of the Taliban, the minister said it is too early to say anything as no government has yet been formed. US Professor Dr. Christine Fair has claimed that Taliban were basically a proxy of Pakistan. Dr. Fair, who is a professor of security studies at the Georgetown University in Washington, said that Islamabad has always been opposed to a stable and secure Afghanistan. It has always propagated the myth that it would have to bear the brunt of the Afghan refugees. However, the fact is that Pakistan has been harboring, aiding and abetting terrorists along the border with Afghanistan. Dr. Fair stated that Islamabad has been meddling in Afghan affairs as an unstable Afghanistan serves its interests. Her categorical remarks came out in open during an interview which was broadcast on Saturday on the UK's BBC channel. The professor was speaking about Pakistan Intelligence Chief Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid's visit to Kabul at the invitation of Taliban. She was repeatedly shut down by the news presenter Philippa Thomas in the name of the so-called balance and impartiality when Dr. Fair was explaining Pakistan's role behind the trouble in Afghanistan. The professor accused the BBC host of doing the propagandist work of Pakistan when the presenter interrupted her and then disconnected the call. The response of the host exposed the hypocrisy and bias of a section of the Western media which wants to silence people who don't want to read their propaganda script. Former Pakistan ambassador to the US, Hussain Haqqani, has shared a link to the declassified US documents which illustrate that Taliban were directly funded, armed and advised by Islamabad. A top White House official has pledged that the United States would find a way to get the remaining Americans out of Afghanistan if they want to leave. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain told a television channel that U.S. officials believe around 100 Americans remain in Afghanistan nearly a week since the U.S. military pulled its last troops out of the country. But a key opposition lawmaker, Congressman Michael McCaul, the lead Republican of the House of Foreign Affairs Committee, told another television channel that based on U.S. intelligence briefings, he believes hundreds of Americans were left behind as the last U.S. military flights left Kabul last Monday. He said no U.S. citizens have gotten out of Afghanistan since then. McCall said Taliban have been making demands and not clearing airplanes to leave. He said Taliban wants something in exchange, that is full U.S. recognition of its control of the Afghan government. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
The Taiwan's Defense Ministry said that 19 Chinese military aircraft, including fighters and nuclear-capable bombers, entered its Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ, on Sunday. Taipei has been complaining for more than a year about repeated missions by China's Air Force near the island. China sees Democratic Taiwan as a breakaway province, but Taiwan sees itself as a sovereign state. The Taiwan's Defense Ministry said Sunday's mission by the Chinese Air Force involved 4 H-6 bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons as well as an anti-submarine aircraft. Taiwan deployed missile systems and dispatched combat aircraft to warn away the Chinese planes, the ministry added. Last week, Taiwan's Defense Ministry warned that China's armed forces could paralyze Taiwan's defenses and that the Chinese threat is growing. It was not clear what might have prompted China to launch its aircraft this time, but China has been describing its activities as necessary to protect the country's sovereignty and deal with collusion between Taipei and Washington. State media quoting Chinese mainland analysts said it was a part of routine drill which displayed the unshakable power gap between the PLA and the armed forces on the island despite Taiwan's recent military spending proposal target, the PLA. Beijing often launches such missions to express displeasure at comments made by Taiwan. In June, it sent 28 military jets into the ADIZ, the largest incursion reported by Taiwan to date. On 24th of January, a similar mission saw 15 aircraft entering Taiwan's air defense zone, while on 12th of April, Taiwan reported 25 jets. In a landmark achievement, India has administered more than 1 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses on Monday. The Union Health Ministry said this feat has been achieved thrice in last 11 days. India's cumulative COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 69 crore 68 lakh today. The ministry said over 53 crore vaccine doses have been administered as first dose and over 16 crore vaccine doses given as second doses. The new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from 21st of June this year.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said India is administering 1.25 crore COVID vaccines daily, which is higher than the population of several countries. The Prime Minister was virtually addressing the frontline COVID warriors and people of Himachal Pradesh for achieving the 100% target in administering the first dose of COVID vaccine to its eligible population, first by any state in the country.
100 वर्ष की सबसे बड़ी महामारी के विरुद्ध लड़ाई में हिमाचल प्रदेश चैंपियन बनकर के सामने आया है। हिमाचल भारत का पहला राज्य बना है जिसने अपनी पूरी एलिजिबल आबादी को कोरोना टीके की कम से कम 1 डोज लगा ली। यही नहीं, दूसरी डोज के मामले में भी हिमाचल लगभग 1/3 आबादी को पार कर चुका है। हिमाचल के लोगों की इस सफलता ने देश का आत्मविश्वास भी बढ़ाया है और आत्मनिर्भर होना कितना जरूरी है ये भी याद दिलाया है।
While interacting with frontline COVID warriors and the beneficiaries of the COVID vaccination program through video conferencing one by one, the Prime Minister appreciated the efforts being made by frontline health workers to achieve this unique feat. Indian Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has reached Vienna to attend the 5th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament by the Austrian Parliament, Inter-Parliamentary Union and the United Nations. The two-day conference will begin on Tuesday. The World Conference of Speakers of Parliament is held regularly every 5 years with the goal to reinforce the parliamentary dimension of global governance. Ambassador of India to Austria, Jaideep Mazumdar, welcomed the Indian delegation at the airport. Mr. Birla is accompanied by Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Harivansh, and other senior officials.
Delegate registration for 52nd edition of the International Film Festival of India, IFFI, is now open. In a tweet, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has invited filmmakers and film enthusiasts from around the world to be a part of IFFI in Goa. The details can be seen in dff.gov.in. The 52nd IFFI to be held from November 20th to 28th this year in Goa. The IFFI, founded in 1952, is one of the most significant film festivals in Asia. The 51st International Film Festival of India was held from 16th to 24th of January this year in Goa. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the festival went hybrid. There was physical and virtual screening of 50 films out of 224 films across various categories. Now let's enjoy our program Kaleidoscope, where we bring you short, funny, crisp and unique stories from across the world. The script has been written by Aarti Rana and read by Lucy Chattopadhyay.
Every day there are numerous inventions and discoveries which come to light. Can you guess which recent discovery I'm talking about today? Scientists have discovered a new island, and it is just 30 meters, which means around 100 feet across and a peak of about 3 meters long. It has been discovered off the coast of Greenland and is currently world's northernmost point of land. But there is one fact that I would like to share with you. An island needs to remain above sea level at high tide. Let's wait and watch till when it holds the title of northernmost point of land. Till then, we have to wait and watch.
सागर किनारे दिल ये पुकारे तू जो नहीं तो मेरा कोई नहीं है हो सागर किनारे
दिल ये
Now can you blame a bride for being annoyed when her song of choice is not played as she makes her grand entry? Recently, a girl shared a video which shows her refusing to enter her wedding venue. Reason? The song she wanted to play had not been put on. Friends and family members tried to calm her down, telling her that the track would soon be changed. However, the gutsy bride had her way at the end as she made a bridal entry amidst her favorite song. It is a special day for both bride and groom. Let's not make you wait to listen to the Indians and tea have a unique connection. It is not just a drink for us, but a ritual, a celebration, and even a diversion from the mundane affairs. Tea or chai is loved through length and breadth of India. So how would you like if the freshest tea from Darjeeling is delivered to your doorstep? This COVID made life difficult for many. But youngsters Parsha and Ishan from Darjeeling have come up with out-of-the-box ideas with Dorji teas. Under the unique subscription model, consumers need to pay just Rs 2,100 for an entire year's supply of fresh and organic tea. Just imagine the uniqueness of a garden fresh tea from world-famous Darjeeling tea. Whenever we want to drink freshest possible tea, they would roast the tea leaves, pack and send it to us. Let's enjoy this cup. Dunya Rang Birangi 10 at gmail.com. Stay safe and happy. Namaskar.
And now a report from the business world.
The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange jumped 167 points or 0.3% to end at 58,297. The NSE Nifty gained 54 points or 0.3% to close at 17,378. Among the global markets, the Asian stock markets rose on expectation of more stimulus in Japan and China. Japan's Nikkei 225 index surged 1.8% to a 5-month high on hopes that a new prime minister would bring added fiscal spending. Hopes of fresh stimulus also lifted China's Shanghai Composite 1.1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 1%, Singapore's Straits Times gained 0.4%, and South Korea's Kospi closed almost unchanged. European markets were also trading higher. And back home, gold futures for October delivery on the multi-commodity exchange declined 98 rupees to 47,426 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for December gained 51 rupees to 65,260 rupees per kilo. And in the forex market, the rupee depreciated 8 paise to close at 73 rupees and 10 paise against the US dollar. Nishit Kumar for World News, AIR.
Bangladesh Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood today inaugurated the Bangabandhu Media Centre at the Press Club of India in New Delhi. Speaking on this occasion, Dr. Mahmood said this initiative will strengthen the Indo-Bangladesh relationship. He said bilateral relations between both the countries have touched new heights under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina.
In cricket, India defeated England by 157 runs. Chasing a victory target of 368 runs, the hosts were bundled out for 210 in their second innings on the fifth and the final day of the fourth Test match at the Oval in London. For India, Umesh Yadav scalped 3 wickets and Jasprit Bumrah, Ravindra Jadeja and Shardul Thakur took 2 wickets each. With this win, India has taken a 2-1 lead in the 5-match series. Earlier, India were all out for 466 in their second innings, taking a lead of 367 runs. Rohit Sharma, with 127 runs, was the top scorer in the second innings. The final scores were India 191 and 466, while England 290 and 210 all out. The fifth and the final test will be played from the 10th of this month at Old Trafford at Manchester. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur have expressed happiness on victory of India against England in the Oval Test. Several Indian para-athletes, including gold medalist in badminton Pramod Bhagat and silver medalist Suhas Yatharaj, returned home today. They were welcomed with garlands and bouquets by family members and supporters at the IGI airport in New Delhi. India bagged 19 medals at the Tokyo Paralympics, including 5 gold, 8 silver and 6 bronze medals. This is the first time India has hit the double-digit mark at the Paralympics.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Washington Post says Panchir Valley, last resistance holdout in Afghanistan, falls to Taliban. The Globe and Mail reports Belarus protest leader Maria Kolendikova sentenced to 11 years in jail. The Globe and Mail also writes elite Guinea army unit says it's overthrown president. The Guardian reports German ambassador to China dies less than 2 weeks into posting. Financial Times says aluminium prices hit decade high on Guinea coup. Financial Times says Globe deal making set to break records. Wall Street Journal writes directors of Hong Kong's Apple daily publisher quit, citing national security crackdown. Sputnik News reports Europe-NATO ties no longer efficient in solving Afghan other issues, EU parliamentarian says. South China Morning Post says Japan's vaccine minister Taro Kono emerges as frontrunner to become PM, newspaper polls suggest. The bilateral exercise Auth Index between the Indian Navy and the Royal Australian Navy commenced today in Australia. This edition of exercise includes complex surface, subsurface and air operations between ships, submarines, helicopters and long-range maritime patrol aircraft. The bilateral exercise will continue till 10th of this month. The participating Indian naval ships, Shivalik and Kadmat, are the latest indigenously designed and built guided missile stealth frigate and anti-submarine corvette. The exercise will provide an opportunity for both navies to further bolster interoperability, gain from best practices, and develop a common understanding of procedures for maritime security operations.
And now a quick look at the headlines once again. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair 13th Brics Summit on the 9th of this month in a virtual format. Iran strongly condemns Taliban's military offensive against resistance fighters in Afghanistan's Panchir Valley. Taiwan says 19 Chinese military aircraft entered its air defense zone. India administers more than 1 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses on Monday. Feat achieved thrice in last 11 days. And in cricket, India beats England by 157 runs in the 4th Test match at Oval, lead series 2-1. And in some more news, a women's rights body from Bangladesh has asked the government to stop religious meetings known as Waz Mehfils, where hate speeches are delivered against other religions and women. A delegation of the women's organization Amrai Pori Paribarik Nirjothon Protirod Jyote met the Minister for Religious Affairs. India celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan Vaishnav Jan by artists from Italy.
चाहिए धन धन जननी तेरे पैसा वजन तो तेरे कंधे से सिर कराई जन रे.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.